black body radiation and ultraviolet catastrophe. According to my cosmic model. Theory of Everything 1992. Friends, as you will see, I do not really agree with the pre-quantum conclusions and explanations about black body radiation. First of all, if we are talking about real physics, we have to rely on real physics, and therefore we cannot imagine an ideal black body, and even less like a closed box with a hole. A real physical body, for example a sphere, must be composed of atoms, and in this case this sphere would be made of black atoms, incapable of emitting any type of energy, and that does not exist. As we can guess, all atoms are more or less black, and all have a different energy emission range, but with similar parameters. And when we heat or supply energy to any atom, they all seem to have a progressive increase in their energy emission, but at some point this emission increase curve seems to collapse and fall apart, that is, descend rapidly. But we could ask ourselves, where do we look for a logical explanation for this? Easy, we already have it in other observations on atomic structuring and its properties. 1. We know on the one hand that materials expand when heated. 2. And we know that if we give a lot of energy to an atom, the atom, instead of returning it to us in the form of radiant energy, can absorb it and move an electron to an outer shell. And yes, it is here at this border when the atoms that we heat absorb this energy, and stop emitting large amounts of radiation as seen in the measurements. Of course, if we could theoretically continue heating the atoms indefinitely, they would become liquids, plasmas, etc., with other different properties depending on the energy level. This is clearly seen in the drawing. Therefore, ultraviolet catastrophe is simply the absorption of energy by the atom when it reaches the threshold of its own absorption capacity and is forced to use the new energy contribution to structure a new orbit. Asterisk dilation and radiation potential. Every atom is an orbital system in balance of energy density, and if we supply any of these atoms with more energy from the outside, this atom will be forced, through its magnetic fields, to emit and expel this excess energy. And until it does so completely, it will be forced to expand to continue conserving the required energy density. Therefore, the expansion and emission of energy go parallel and are dependent on the magnetic fields that structure, monitor and balance the entire atomic system, both its volume and its energy density. Therefore, the general process of heating a body would be like this. 1. We supply energy to a body, and its atoms, and it absorbs a small amount for itself and to balance itself in energy with the external environment, with which it expands a little, and the rest of the energy is emitted in the form of radiation. Energy received minus energy absorbed equals energy emitted. 2. We continue supplying with greater intensity, and the body or atom expands a little more, which increases its energy emission potential, and therefore emits this energy with greater potential and quantity. 3. And by supplying greater energy potential successively, the body or atom reaches its maximum capacity or ceiling of absorption and expansion, ultraviolet catastrophe. And at this point said atom uses the new contributions of energy, along with the one it already had, to activate a new outer orbit, with which the energy emission quickly falls, since it remains with it as property. Well friends, this is the end of this brief explanation. Thank you so much.